thanks everyone for coming here, and thanks, I think, for new people who might be drifting in. I appreciate you staying for the session. Let's see. I'll go back. Just want to tell you a couple things. I'm Doug Simon. Thank you to the hundreds of people watching online. A couple of notes about me. We're up there celebrating our 40th anniversary this July 4th. I know that's a day that some of you have meaning for, but we'll move past that. Next up, I want to get right away to the agenda. And part of what informed the agenda is some of the things I heard at the other sessions, and included, if you all heard Greg from Muckrack yesterday, he was talking about the AI visibility gap. And Tina was talking, if you saw her session from the Institute of Public Relations, Tina was talking about that local news in the US is the most trusted source of media that's out there for Americans. So what I'm going to do is share some data from TV Producers Survey, identify key elements to help you get on TV, and hopefully give you some tips so you can tie your earned media that you're generating and that you're monitoring and that you're analyzing more closely to GEO and visibility. So a question for the group. It's going to be heavy on audience participation. At least that's what they told me I needed to do. But no, I am relying on all of you. Sorry, not too much for you guys out there. But any thoughts? What impact does earned media have on GEO? Have you picked up anything? Does anyone have large, small? Anyone have a number? Anyone? You're going to leave me? 25%. 25%, that's a good one. Anyone else? Yep, back there. Oh, Johnny, I know you've got a number. Yeah, between 70 and 95% and 90%, 95. So being part of AMEC, we wanted to go to every last detail to make sure the information we have is accurate, following the Barcelona principles and everything. So what we determined is the definitive response to the question of the role of earned media in GEO. It's a lot. Yeah, and what's interesting about it, if you saw Johnny's session this morning, he talked about how earned media now is even lower in the funnel that leads to sales. It's closer, when it's discovered, it's closer than ever to making a sale happen. Little quick side note, so you'll get a feel for what we do and have some context. In addition to producing podcasts and video, our core business is helping clients get on TV in the US. We typically, for a project, will book 25 interviews and produce them all within a 5-hour period. It's known as a satellite media tour on that. And recently, it's been changed, transformed, so it's actually an AI optimization tool. And that's going to tie into what I said a little earlier about making sure your earned media is feeding this need to optimize your content and be discovered. So we surveyed stations, and here's some of what producers found. Areas they're using it, some of them there's an overlap with how you're using AI. Research, fact-checking, writing digital stories. One interesting use is if you have content in one place, you can put it in, and Jim, I apologize for using the word content. I won't say it's king here, going for Prince on that. But if you've already got content in one place, but it needs to be reformatted for something else, AI is really effective for translating that into a first draft from your existing content. They're creating graphics, transcribing interviews. But here's some of the things that we found. If you want to get on television, you have to have content that can already be found. 37% of producers are using AI to identify story ideas, more than 1/3. And again, this has all happened in the last year and a half. So that's another reason that you need to have your content optimized if you want to be covered in media. Some other fun facts, stations in the US, 94% on their website, 94% social, 86% on YouTube. And we saw in a couple of the presentations on Gemini, YouTube is the #1 source for showing up in AI search. So now you're getting stations, you're doing content, they're putting their content, earned media, on YouTube about you. And it's an expanded digital presence that's all feeding that. And I don't want to be mean to this side of the room or nice, depending on your viewpoint. But stations themselves also recognize the importance of optimizing their content for search. 60% of them are optimizing for GEO when they have content. So it's already filtered into the journalist system. This is the one that sort of blew my mind the most. We asked them, if you have two similar stories that you're considering, and sorry, that wasn't a 6-7 thing, that's sort of overdone by now, just a habit, that I'll get over. Two similar stories, one is optimized for GEO, the other isn't. 68% of them will go with the story that's been optimized. So now we're going to get to another audience participation. Get ready to stretch. I'm not going to make you do an exercise thing, but there's a huge giveaway involved that relates to this. It's all about the questions being asked. And you might recall, I know many of you were out late last night, so you might have forgotten by now what happened on Monday during the networking. But I believe there was a question that you were supposed to ask people that you're doing that rapid networking. Anyone remember what that was? Do you have the Joker? Was a question. If you could do me a favor, just to pump up the energy, could everyone say that at once? What was the question that you had to ask people during that network?
Do you have the Joker?
Great, and we got most people participating, but interestingly enough, we didn't get everyone, right? So it turned out yesterday after speaking to a session, and we were just casually mentioned, oh, I'm one of the people of the Joker. But no one had asked them about it, interestingly enough. So they weren't going to be able to use it, not for AMEC. It was a travel issue. I don't know if it was their 17th wedding anniversary or something, but they weren't going to be able to take advantage of it. So they gave it to me because I'm like, oh, I can use it in my session. I'm so excited about this. So the point being, it's about the questions. So now I also have two other cards. So if anyone wants to guess from one, with one being an ace, 10 being a 10 or a picture card, we'll go around until people find the numbers of the other two cards, and you're going to be entered in the contest tonight for the draw, for the drawing later in the day. Anyone want to have a chance for a free summit next year? We got a couple of hands, yeah. Throw out a number between 1 and 10.
3.
That is actually one of the numbers, so you're going to get one. Here, if you want the Joker, you can grab it. And now there's one other number left.
10.
Not 10. Back there.
7.
7, nope.
6. 5.
9.
Nope.
0.
Hey, I only have 15 minutes, guys. Come on. What's left?
2.
2. There you go. So we've got the 2 in the other one. So at the end, you can bring it up. Now, I'm about to make what I call a John-alike transition of connecting things that, how could they possibly be related to each other? But it doesn't make sense. Earlier, I had some notes on the graphic about some of the fun work we did at the start. We did a project for the West German government on the Berlin Wall's 25th anniversary. We helped launch Disney.com and also Viagra. And when you think of stories that go to the media that they're interested in, it's all about answering questions. If a journalist was covering AMEC on Monday, they might have said, what's the need? Oh, how do I win? How do I get a chance to be in that drawing? They might have said, Jana, can I speak to you? I want to interview you for my show, to answer that question. It's the same for all the stuff we've been doing for 40 years. Whether it's Disney.com, okay, hey, how can I get access to this new information? If it's Viagra, I'll let you paint your own picture on the question you might be asking there. But what's changed so dramatically that's so cool is we now have tools to know what those questions are likely to be. And that's what AI is bringing. I would wager that almost every one of your clients, every one of your organizations has a way to really get into what are the probable questions people are asking about topics. So if I can get you to change one behavior so far, I want you to make sure you start using that for your earned media. And I'll just show, this is our service where what we added to our traditional media tour was using a platform to find out what the questions were that people were asking on the large language models, with probability. It's not exact. And from there, we're able to tell the stations that it's optimized content for them. The client is answering the questions, the brand's being associated with it. Of course, we use ChatGPT as a cheat sheet to help market, to find out what was cool about it. But the idea is this is an incredible tool and sort of a way to use AI that's not expensive, not difficult, available at the fingertips of many of you already. So a couple more pieces about news, US local TV news. We had done our own study, more than 1,000 people across the United States. I don't know how much you know about American politics, but you probably know that Democrats and Republicans don't tend to agree a lot, right? That's consensus, that's true. So the 85%, exactly the same number of Democrats and Republicans felt local TV news was more trustworthy than social media. Slight difference for network news, 67%. And this is something that's interesting. A lot of people, because of all the cuts in media, and I know it's not just the US where journalists are getting cut, it's happening across Europe, it's happening across Asia on that. But in the US, there's actually an increase in the amount of content that is available for local news. There are just fewer people available to produce it. So it's a great opportunity for PR. Any of you start your career having to pitch media on that? Some of them know that, right? So you know it was really fun when we started. Everyone was like, hey, thanks for calling. I'm so great to speak with you. Oh, can you get me another piece for my show? But today, 94% of producers are actually open to brand pitches on US media. It's sort of insane. No one would have thought it's true. There's also a big change, because a lot of times it was thought, oh, we need to get this third-party expert, and there are 2 degrees. I mean, if you have a super A-lister, sure, the media will want them. If you have Sydney Sweeney, would be a good example. They'll talk to her. But outside of that, 90% prefer an in-house spokesperson if they're booking an interview. And again, this brings us all back to this AI discoverability, right? Because they want the in-house person. You want your in-house person and your brand associated with the answers to these questions that people are asking. It's a perfect storm as an opportunity storm, if there is such a thing. Here's another opportunity for wherever you are in the world. Virtual interview is now permanent. 94% will do a remote interview. We've done pieces on Irish breakfast for a coffee maker on that were in Ireland. In the old days, we would have had to get a satellite truck, transatlantic satellite jump. It would have added like $25,000 to the cost of it. Now, oh, do you have internet? I can connect to American television from anywhere to the story. What we're also seeing is a tremendous increase in the number of topics that stations are open to covering. So we take a look. These are all average. 63% are interested in this wide range of topics. Any of you, I know I'm trying to do the exercise thing, maybe go into the well with it too much, but if you want to raise your hand, any of you have clients you work with who are in any of these spaces? I think you might even have to raise 2 hands on that. It's obvious. So giving you some key takeaways. They need your content more than ever. And I would guess that that's happening globally because these cuts are affecting newsrooms. And again, there's more content than just a show. There's the show, there's the digital show, there's the web, there's online, there's what they're putting into YouTube, that the smaller staff is responsible for all of this content. In the US, local TV news can't be beat for trustworthiness. Big reason for this, we did a study during the political season. In the month leading up to the 2024 presidential election, during October, there's elections in every state, in every city, total country. Only 16% of local news time was devoted to politics. And that's because they know their audience, if they're into politics, they're going to watch the network that matches their political beliefs. They're not watching Good Morning Denver, Good Morning Cincinnati to get the latest political news. So because of that, that's really helped local TV news become more trusted. GEO, we've seen, can help you get more coverage at the front end because they're trying to find there. And then it's got a payoff on the back end because that's going to drive more optimization. And as I said before, you may, and probably based on this audience, have the tools to make this all happen if you think differently how to use them. And John, I'm sorry, but I still have a minute left for questions, so I'm going to make you walk up.
It's okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you,
I thought it was
Doug.
like the Met Gala with her walk up.
What did Paul say? Storm the stage. I like it. All right. We will allow one question, even though that's red over time. Anybody have a question for Doug? Okay. I will take the question then, if that's okay. I made myself a little note, so bear with me. When you were going through your slides, Is there any of your data that's applicable to, like, I mean, you shared the stuff and you had it for the US, right?
Right.
But do you have any that would be really applicable for Europe or Asia that people might be able to benchmark against?
Well, I mean, you could benchmark against it. I think some of the trends, like the key trend that we see that's driving this in the US is the added work and reduced journalist staff. They need to do more stuff with fewer resources. So they're more open to PR. That happens in the US as an imperative. There's still the same, if not larger, news holes going on across Europe and Asia. So I think that's more of an opportunity for PR. But I think the key takeaway for anywhere is, are you optimizing the earned content that's pitched so your brand will be associated with those questions? That's applicable anywhere.
Brilliant, brilliant. All right, a round of applause, please, for Doug Simon
Thanks,
from DS
Ellen.
Simon. Thanks, Doug.